What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another Pitching Ninja's filthiest pitches of the day. Remember, before we get to those pitches, hit that subscribe button. Join Ninja Nation. And now, without further ado, here are my filthiest pitches of the day. I'm going to start with ageless Johnny Cueto, who had 8 Ks in 6 innings, giving up only 1 run on 2 hits. He dominated with his fastballs, changeups, and cutters, as well as changing his windup variations, messing with hitters' timing, as always. He faced Chase Anderson, who had 6 Ks in 6 innings and had this cutter. Brandon Bird Dog Williamson had 5 Ks in 6 innings, giving up only 1 run. He mostly featured his fastballs, including this painted fastball, and outdueled Brandon Pfaadt, who had 6 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 3 runs, and had these fastballs, changeups, and slider. Paul Blackburn had 5 Ks in 5 1/3 innings, giving up 1 run, and had these wicked sliders. He faced Christian Javier, who had 5 Ks in 5 2/3 innings, giving up 2 runs, and had this fastball and slider. Miles Michaelis had 3 Ks in 5 innings, but gave up 11 hits and 5 runs. He did feature this filthy slider and curveball. Dylan Cease had 9 Ks in 6 innings, giving up only 1 run on 3 hits, and Cease relied on his standard mix of overpowering fastballs as well as wicked sliders and knuckle curves. He faced Sonny Gray, who had 4 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 2 runs, and had these nasty two-seamers. And here's an overlay that shows why his two-seamer and sweeper combination are so deadly. It enables him to attack a hitter east-west. Kevin Gausman went 6 innings with 9 Ks, nice, but gave up 4 runs, not as nice. And he had these vicious splitters and fastballs. Here's an overlay of his fastball and splitter. And you can see, even though this isn't Gausman's filthiest splitter, because it looks like a heater so long, he can get a swing and miss just based on the small velo difference and drop. Gausman faced Logan Gilbert, who had 5 Ks in 5 innings, giving up 5 runs, and had these fastballs and splitters. Josiah Gray had 4 Ks in 7 innings, and got Ks on these sliders and cutters. Bobby Miller had 6 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 3 runs, and had this upper 90s fastball, as well as these sliders and curveballs. James Paxton had 7 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 2 earned runs, relying on his mid to upper 90s fastball, as well as this nasty cutter. He outdueled Max Scherzer, who had 7 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 5 runs. Scherzer's cutters were really sharp, and he also had these sliders and dirty curveballs. Gerrit Cole had a strong outing with 10 Ks in 6 1/3 innings, giving up 2 runs, and further solidified himself as a Cy Young leader for the AL. He's currently plus 170 at FanDuel. He relied on his fastballs up to 99 miles an hour and these changeups, sliders, and curveballs. And here's an overlay of Cole's fastball and curveball. And you can see how that curveball looks like an elevated heater coming in and then drops. Cole faced Brady Singer, who was really good himself, with 9 Ks in 6 innings, giving up only 2 runs. He dominated with his Brady sinkers, yeah, that's a bad pun, as well as his sliders. Reed Detmers had 9 Ks in 5 innings, giving up 2 runs, and had these vicious sliders and sweepers, as well as this very pretty curveball. And I love this sequence with a curveball and slider back-to-back, both exactly where he wanted them. Grayson Rodriguez had 6 Ks in 5 2/3 innings, giving up 2 runs on only 3 hits. He had these upper 90s fastballs of 98 and 99 miles an hour, as well as these curveballs. As I've said before, the stuff is there, and now it's all about pitchability. He is going to be really, really good. He faced Shane McClanahan, who had 5 Ks in 4 innings, giving up 5 runs, but had this 99-mile-an-hour fastball, as well as these sick changeups. And here are a couple of isolated looks at Shane McClanahan's changeup release, and you can kind of see the one-seam rotation he gets on these. Adrian Hauser had 10 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 3 runs, and had this mix of 2-seamers and 4-seamers. And he faced Alan Winans, who made his major league debut and was solid with 5 Ks in 4 1/3 innings, giving up 2 runs, and had these curveballs and changeup. In an old-fashioned pitcher's duel, Zack Wheeler took on Tanner Bibee, and Wheeler had 8 Ks in 7 innings, giving up only 1 run, thanks to his mix of 2-seam and 4-seam fastballs, these sliders, and sweepers. And he was outdueled by yesterday's filthiest starting pitcher of the day, Tanner Bibee. Bibee was absolutely outstanding with 8 Ks in 7 shutout innings, giving up only 2 hits, lowering his ERA this year to 3.04 And this was his 5th consecutive start, giving up 2 runs or fewer. He relied on this mix of sliders, changeups, and curveballs, as well as his fastball. And here's an overlay of his elevated fastball and curveball. And you can really see how much drop that curveball gets. The Guardians pitching lab is outstanding. And when Bibee came up, I said he kind of reminded me of a harder throwing Shane Bieber. And he's really coming into his own now. Now on to my filthiest relievers. Daniel Bard had these elevated sliders. David Bednar had this overpowering fastball. Yoel Payamps had this filthy slider. Emmanuel Clase had this 99-mile-an-hour cutter. Felix Bautista had this 101-mile-an-hour gas. Matt Brash had this 100-mile-an-hour heater and 91-mile-an-hour slider. Clay Holmes had this slider and elevated two-seamer. Devin Williams picked up 3 Ks, all on these filthy airbenders. Look at these things. One of the most unhittable changeups in baseball history. And my filthiest reliever of the day was Jhoan Duran for this curveball and 102 and 103-mile-an-hour fastballs. Just impossible stuff. And here's an overlay of Duran's fastball and curveball. And you can see how well he tunnels those and how they head off in different directions, north and south. And now, my pitching ninja moment of zen. It's a hot dog eating a hot dog. You might want to avert your eyes because this is pure cannibalism. What is up, everybody? My picks of the day today are a 3-leg parlay. I'm going to start out with Bailey Ober for 6 Ks or more, then take Mackenzie Gore for 6 Ks or more, and top it off with Jesus Luzardo for 7 Ks or more. What would your picks of the day be?